Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another edition of the Between the Numbers podcast. And we're now into week 4 in the NFL season. Obviously, we've just missed a day. We meant to do it yesterday, but my internet was bugging out a little bit. So we'll start again with, even though the Bears and the Packers played last night, we would both feel that we would have picked the Packers in the in the predictions anyway. So we're gonna give us 1-0 for that. So we're going to go over our games from last week. Picked up a couple of games. We're trying to shorten down the podcast a little bit so you guys can listen to it, really, really quickly. So it's not taking up too much of your time. Anyway,
So
last week was a week filled with upsets, Will. I mean, it was crazy how many games that... I don't know, I felt like I predicted them and they were all just kind of like... There were so many games which you just didn't expect that the underdog came out and won.
yeah, like it was one of those like 1 weeks a year in the NFL where like everything's just turned on its head. It usually happens like halfway through the season, but it happened in week 3 this time, and like I think it was I think it's probably one of the craziest weeks in the NFL I've seen in a long time. Just so many upsets you weren't expecting, like even the Thursday night game that was billed as kind of being quite a
Yeah,
dull game,
yeah,
49ers
for
against the
sure, I know.
Rams. That was still a sick game. Like the game in London was awesome. So many awesome games. Yeah, it's good. It's a good week.
Just so many upsets as well,
Uh,
though. That's why I didn't really. That's why I was, and then like the Browns almost did it. The Browns almost won. That was emotional.
oh, they were so close. But
3 points in it at the end. But oh well. Anyway, do you want to move on to your game for for the past week? Well, week 3 that's happened.
so the game I'm going to chat about from last week is I don't know, probably guessed considering how much love I give to this team. It's not the Detroit Lions. It's the Tennessee Titans.
Boys, Detroit Lions.
It was the Seattle Seahawks at the Tennessee Titans. And the Titans won. They like, despite the fact that the Seahawks haven't been that great this season, like they started slower than they usually do. Like, to the fact that the offense is like not even turning up to games at the moment. And the Titans won 33-27. They scored 21 unanswered points in the second half.
Mm.
And like in the end, they really like outclassed the Seahawks. It was a really quite impressive to watch by the Titans. Obviously, the game started with controversy, with neither of the teams coming out for the national anthem, both choosing to protest,
Mm.
which I respect for both the teams. But yeah, in terms like it was another like typical, like similar to the Titans last week, where they started quite slowly. It was 9-7 for the Titans at the end of the first half, so it's quite dull to watch in the first half, but it really picked up in the second half, and obviously they scored 21 unanswered points. And again, so last week they kind of lent on Derrick Henry, who had almost 100 rushing yards, and this week they went back to DeMarco Murray, and he had 115 rushing yards, which was pretty impressive. Rashard Matthews had a really good game. He had 87 receiving yards. Marcus Mariota kind of really solid. Had 225 yards for 2 touchdowns. He's doing a really good job at kind of just managing the offense, because they haven't really got that many like big weapons on offense at the moment. Like, they haven't got huge receivers that he can throw to, and a lot of the guys that they signed are rookies. So they need to like ease them into the squad. So Mariota's doing a good job of kind of making the most of what he's got around him, and then leaning on that run game so much. And I mean, if you've got Derrick Henry and DeMarco Murray, there's not really like much you need to do. You just kind of give them the ball, and they do quite a lot. Seahawks can't protect their quarterback at all. Wilson is struggling. They can barely get anything going on offense. They haven't got a run game at all. They're just an embarrassment at the moment. I mean, their only hope is that Doug Baldwin managed to get 100 receiving yards. But for me as well, I thought what was really impressive about watching the Titans is the discipline of that offensive line compared to last week. Where last week I mentioned that Jack Conklin gave away quite a few penalties, their offensive tackle, who was an All-Pro last year. They were really disciplined this week, and watching them, it's literally like a machine. Like, they're so well drilled that even on like runs, they all like move across the line together and like block and make like the perfect run lanes for DeMarco Murray and Derrick Henry. So I think if they can keep that offensive line intact, I wouldn't be surprised if the Titans go on and kind of take a stranglehold of this division, because I mean the Texans, they did run the Patriots quite close. The Colts are celebrating a win against the Browns. Jags still not convinced by the Jags. So yeah, I think I wouldn't be surprised if the Titans, if that, my thing is, if they keep that offensive line together, they'll have really good chance of making the playoffs.
Yeah, the Titans for sure. I think that's one of the young up and coming teams. Most NFL like analysts, if you say that's what we are, would agree with. Yeah, it's good signs for the Titans because they really need to take that step in that division, which hopefully is what it's coming out to. And I know the Seahawks aren't what they used to be right now, but like let's not take anything away from the Titans here. Being the Seahawks, there, like their defense. Yeah. I mean, the Seahawks added Sheldon Richardson from the Jets in the offseason for that defensive line. And you were talking about how the offensive line of the Titans really kind of pulled them down last week, whereas this week it really showed up and against one of the better defenses. I mean, you're talking about the Legion of Boom here, and then that front seven as well, the front five of the Seahawks. You have all those stars on that defensive line and coming in the pass rush. So yeah, props to Marcus Mariota. Went to one of the teams with the best defense and brought it out. Obviously, he does have those two great running backs to weigh on. And he's got kind of the best of kind of both worlds. He's got DeMarco Murray with his evasiveness and slipperiness, and then there's got Derrick Henry with that brute force, that power just going through. So he's got two running backs for whatever situation he really needs, which is obviously really good and a really nice supporting cast for him as a young quarterback coming up and through. But yeah, I have to see how the Titans keep going.
I think it's definitely for confidence as well. Even though you said as well that the Seahawks, this isn't the Seahawks team that went back to back to the Super Bowl, but definitely is getting over that hump and beating a playoff team convincingly. Is still quite important for confidence for the Titans because everyone put pressure on them that this was a game that they were going to prove themselves, and they went out there and proved themselves. So they'll take a lot from this, and you could tell that the coach Mike Mularkey, he looked so happy at the end and really relaxed because he's damn, we could actually do this now.
Yeah, big game they got coming up this weekend as well because they're playing the Texans. So this is the games that they really need to take the strides in, that they can beat, that they can show they can beat the Texans. And they're traveling to Houston as well. So we're gonna have to see how that turns out. Obviously, their defense is obviously one of the best ones in the NFL as well. So the Titans going from one to the other really with the Seahawks and the Texans. Anyway, I think I'm going to move on, if you don't mind, to my game that I want to talk about, which is traveling over to the NFC East, our favorite division. So the Giants traveled to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles last Sunday, and it was a high-scoring game. I feel 20. I mean, the Giants got all of their points in the fourth quarter. So I think this shows that I kind of like how the Eagles are progressing, and I don't know. I do like Carson Wentz and how he's maturing as a player, and obviously he as the same as well with Marcus Mariota. He is that really good. He's got a very very decent support cast. He's got a number of backs. I think they used Carson Wentz also ran, and they had four other backs in the game at some point. Obviously LeGarrette Blount, ex-Patriots, Darren Sproles was there for India before he had to go off with a little bit of a knee injury. And they got some people coming through. They got Clement and Smallwoods. They have a huge rotation of running backs, so they have there in Philly. And it was a big game here for Alshon Jeffrey. In the highlights that I saw, he made some pretty good third down catches, some pretty clutch ones, and also some ones where the Giants' defense was just all over the place, allowing Jeffrey to get those catches, which is I think what is the thing kind of holding them back here. I feel. Because I know Eli Manning threw 2 interceptions, and he also threw 3 touchdowns in this game. But I feel like the Giants' defense didn't really show up here that well against the team who they would be expecting to beat. I wasn't too sure. I mean, obviously with the Giants on offense, Sterling Shepard got himself a touchdown, 133 yards. So pretty impressive game for him from there. But still, with the Giants, their run game just isn't a thing. I feel like that's what's kind of holding them back, really, because last year their defense was really good. I'm a little bit concerned about it this year. Obviously, with allowing two touchdowns on the ground, you got to kind of like cement your run defense. I feel first, but the rushing yards from the Giants. I mean, I think they got just over 50 yards altogether rushing. I know Eli Manning threw for over 360 yards, but they kind of need they're too one-dimensional right now. The Giants. Obviously, you do have like Sterling Shepard, Brandon Marshall, Odell Beckham. You got those like stars when you're throwing two on the outside, but they're relying too far on that, and they need to kind of like cement a kind of run game. I mean, they are 0-3 right now, and like at the start of the season, we wouldn't even be talking about the Giants being 0-3. People were talking about the Giants maybe winning the division there. But I mean, take nothing away from Carson Wentz. I think Elliott hit the game-winning field goal, and a good little fact about that is that Carson Wentz said that he would give him his match day check. If he nailed the field goal, and he did. I mean, it's close to $100,000, the check. So Carson Wentz just giving it away here.
Yeah, like he I mean, that whole Eagles team has got to thank that rookie kicker for a lot. I mean, that was a huge kick, and that's like a once in a lifetime kick. He made that like 61 yards. I mean, I haven't seen I don't think I've ever seen a 61-yarder in the NFL, like in the time I've been watching it. So that was impressive. But yeah, like definitely back up the fact that the Giants offense, even though like they got going a bit today, it still kind of showed how one-dimensional they are. That they pretty much just need Odell Beckham on the field, and then they'll do something. But if he's not on the field, they struggle. And there's obviously some trouble with him at the moment. That their owner came out and criticized his touchdown celebration, where he was like pissing. He was like pretending he was like pissing on the floor as a dog, and apparently the owner didn't like that. So yeah, it's I think I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants kind of implode this year. It kind of feels like everything's going towards that, like Odell Beckham kind of throwing his toys out the pram because he's Odell Beckham. Eli Manning kind of looking like he might start, like he's starting to like regress, and his career might start to wind down. That defense doesn't look as dominating as it was. So yeah, like, but I don't know. I don't really mind if the Giants implode. Like, they can implode if they want. They're very welcome to do that.
Very welcome to do that. I'm sure as a Patriots fan, you love the fact that maybe Eli Manning's season isn't starting off too well.
Yeah,
but I mean, we don't have to dwell on that anyway. I think we can probably move on to our picks for this season. I mean, for this season, not for this season. Our picks for the weekend games. Obviously, it is Friday as we're recording this, so Thursday Night Football has already happened, where the Chicago Bears traveled to Green Bay, and they got absolutely trounced. Green Bay won the game.
Well, we kind of...
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of self-explanatory, really. Green Bay 35, the Bears 14. And it was kind of a game that with the Bears coming off the win over the Steelers last week, which was like a big upset. The Packers they faltered against the Falcons. They kind of needed a big win to like put that confidence boost back in. So yeah, props to the Packers. They're heading up that NFC North division right now. But anyway, should we move on to our picks for the weekend?
Yeah. Let's pick some games.
All right, awesome. So may as well start off with our first game that we got coming up, which would be the Saints at the Dolphins. I think this is the first home game the Dolphins have had this season because of the hurricane. So yeah,
but it's also in London.
Oh, it's also in London. Oh, there you go.
It's in London.
Sucks to be the Dolphins. But anyway, yeah. I don't really like. I'm not obviously the Saints beat the Panthers last week, and I do like the the Dolphins. So this may be a little bit of a paper. Obviously, with the Dolphins playing home, and I think because the marketing that went back in like the I think it was like the 1980s and 90s. A lot of UK fans are Dolphin fans. just for that reason. So
Yeah.
I can see it kind of being a sort of home game, much more than like the Jags as a home game. I would say. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm gonna go with Miami in this one. I know that they're starting off not too great, and that the Saints offense kind of tore us a new one last weekend. But I like the Dolphins moving forward this season. Even if they got the best quarterback of all time, Jay Cutler, playing for them, it's all good. I'll play the Dolphins.
I'm going to pick the Dolphins as well. I think, despite the fact that they were able to the Saints were able to pin down you guys last weekend, I don't think the Saints are going to be able to handle the run game from Miami. Jay is just kind of looking really strong this season, and I think they're really going to struggle. And if they can kind of let him loose, I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, and obviously Jay London born, so he'll be wanting to come back and
Yeah, he's
make
he's
it
going
all.
to come in and have like a 300-yard game, and Sky Sports is going to like love it for the rest
Yeah,
of the
they're
year.
gonna be like, "Wow, this guy's born in England. Did you know that?" And it'll be like, "Great, right."
Yeah, and he has that really strong British accent that we all love.
Exactly. Yeah, it's so American. But oh well. Right, moving on to the game we've already talked about this week coming up. There's the Tennessee Titans go to Houston to take on the Texans in this matchup. Who have you got in this game?
I'm going to sit with the Titans. I think
Hmm.
this is a big game for the Titans because it's their first chance to really make a mark on this division, playing the defending champions of the last 2 years. If you would believe that, the Texans have won the AFC South for the last 2 years. But I think they'll come up well. I think Texans, despite the fact that they had a good run against the Patriots and beat the Bengals as well, I think they're still. I'm not really sure about their offense yet. That doesn't really look to be clicking in the right way in there. But they've got that really great front five of guys like JJ Watt and Jadeveon Clowney and
Mm.
like Whitney Merciless. But that Titans offensive line is so strong, and I think they'll be able to do enough to kind of hold back that pass rush and squeeze out a win. I think it'll be quite a low scoring game, I reckon.
Yeah, I mean, I can see this. This is a very interesting game, obviously, because the Texans went to when almost pulled up the win against the Patriots last week. I'm not really sure if this is saying about the Texans or about the Patriots this season. Maybe it's a little bit of the both, but there's promise in both these teams. Obviously, with two young quarterbacks here, I just like the way the Texans have been playing, especially against the Patriots, and I feel that they always bring it up if it's winners in the division because they're always the one with the best divisional record. So I think yeah, with Houston being at home, I kind of like the Texans this one. I was impressed by what I saw last week. So yeah, I'm gonna go for the Texans.
Ooh,
I know,
between
right?
teams.
All right, moving on. We have possibly one of the worst games of this week. We have the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the New York Jets. Sorry if you're a fan of either team. The Jets have been surprising. They've won a game. The Jags have also won 2 games. So I mean, the Jags currently top of their division. I mean, I can't really see much happening other than I don't actually know, to be honest. I'll probably pick the Jags in this one.
I think I'm going to go Jags as well. I think it was less surprise. It's less surprising that the Jags won last week. It was more surprising that the Jets won, and I think I can't really see the Jets repeating that because they haven't. I mean, their roster is just so poor. They haven't really got much to do there. And I mean, they've traded away pretty much anything that was good on that roster.
Hmm.
And the Jags have got a lot more going for them, and I wouldn't be surprised if they can kind of eke out a few wins this year. But yeah, I'm still not on that Jags hype train. Like, you got to show me more.
I'm not saying I'm not saying I'm on the Jags hype train. I'm just maybe saying that the Jags are maybe a better team than the New York Jets.
Yeah, I mean, that's not really saying much.
It's very true. It's very true. But I think it's enough for this game. Anyway, moving on to both our teams are playing this week. My Carolina Panthers traveling to New England to take on your Patriots. We haven't really got our offense going, and although it pains me, I mean, it doesn't really pain me that much. You are the Patriots, so I'll probably give you guys a W in this game. We're not really kicking off that well, and I don't think we have that much on offer. We're not going to be able to put up enough points, I don't think, to really trouble you guys.
Yeah, I think so as well. But I think your defense is kind of built in the right way. That you've got a good pass rush. Like, you probably have one of the best front fives in the NFL. It's built in a way that you can put pressure on Brady, and that's kind of the way you beat Brady. but yeah, I just what worries me about the Panthers is your offense. Like you just seem to like struggle to put like any points on the board.
Yeah, I
So I
know.
think the Patriots will win.
Yeah, and there's no and the Patriots always end up putting points on the board. So I mean, I don't really see us like putting up 28 points or something. Like I don't really see that happening. So I don't know how we can really pick up the W there. Anyway, moving on to another team that you love, the the Detroit Lions are playing the Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota. Um, and I feel that we
Big
might have
game. This
different
big
we
game.
might have different opinions on this one because I see Minnesota coming through last week with what's the name? It slipped my
Case
mind.
Keenum.
Case Keenum, yeah, of course. Sorry, that was
Yeah.
terrible. He wasn't half bad at all. I mean, led them to victory. So I think I'll give and the Lions fell short. Just about like a yard short in the end. So I mean, I like the Vikings this week, and they always pull up.
it was like 3 inches short.
Yeah, I know, it
It
just
was like
wasn't
three
there.
inches short.
So
Oh,
and you know how much I do. I'm not really sure sold on Matt Stafford yet. So I think I'll pick the Vikings this week for a better overall team.
oh, that no, I'm gonna go for the Lions because like, do you remember last year? Like Case Keenum, he had a few like good games for the Rams
Mm,
where he threw for like 400 yards,
yeah,
um, and then he was really crap for the rest of the
yeah, he
season.
was quite
I
bad.
wouldn't kind of be surprised if like this was like a fun game that Case Keenum has, and then he throws like 5 interceptions next week. I'm not saying
Yeah,
he's going to throw 5 interceptions
mm,
because I don't think the Vikings offense will allow him to do that, but I just don't really see him kind of doing that back to back. But I do see Matt Stafford being an elite quarterback who is going to repeat solid performances every week.
elite quarterback. That's me every time. Right. Possible. We have one of the unbeaten teams, one of only two unbeaten teams coming up this weekend. We have the Buffalo Bills who travelled to the unbeaten Atlanta Falcons, and I think the Falcons will probably extend their unbeaten run here. I don't really think that the Buffalo Bills have that much on offer to shut them down as much as they shut down the Denver Broncos last week. I mean, that was an impressive performance, but I really don't see the same thing happening with Julio Jones as one of your receivers. You just chuck him the ball against like five people and he'll catch it. So I think I got the Falcons this one, especially at their new stadium as well.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a different ask going to like the Broncos is like they aren't. Yeah, the Falcons as well. Like Broncos, they had a good game. They've got some good offense. Their defense looks a little bit better. Bills kind of got lucky. They really but the Broncos really shot themselves in the foot. Like Von Miller gave away some pretty horrific penalties. Trevor Simeon he's not played very consistently. And Falcons, Matt Ryan was MVP. Julio Jones, probably the best receiver in the NFL.
Mm,
Dan Quinn, very good defensive coach. Yeah, it's very difficult to pick the Bills in this game.
very true, very true. Right, moving on, we got an AFC North battle here, in which the two teams who've actually won a game in this division, the Pittsburgh Steelers, are traveling to the Baltimore Ravens. And this game where because the Steelers lost to the Bears, they really need a big win. And I kind of do think that they can do that against the Ravens, even though I really like the Ravens defense, who have been stepping it up a ton this season. Already in the first three games, I think they've been doing pretty well. But the Steelers, I think that last week was maybe a little bit of a blip for them, and that they're just gonna kind of like roll over. They're just gonna they're not gonna roll. They're just gonna turn over and then just like just. I think they need a big game, and I can see it happening against the Ravens. Or I can also see Eric Weddle taking it back down for like 3 touchdowns, you know. But I'll pick the Steelers
I'm
this
gonna
one.
go the other side.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna go the other side. I'm gonna go Ravens because I mean John Harbaugh said straight after that London game that it was only the fact that they were playing in London that they played badly. So I reckon they're gonna come back. They're gonna be back in Baltimore. They're gonna be fired up and they're gonna smash their divisional rivals.
Fair. All right, we've got two AFC North games. Wow, the Cincinnati Bengals always take on the Browns. Now this will mean that if they don't draw, someone will get a win here. I really want to pick the Browns. I really do. They came with so close, but I'll probably give Cincinnati the win here. Um, The Browns usually go 0-6, and I can't really see them doing anything else. I mean, within the division.
I'm gonna go Browns.
Oh, you're
I
gonna go
think that
Browns in the
they,
short term.
yeah, there's a lot of pressure on the Browns to show something this season, and they've shown glimpses of it, and they need a win. And I think they showed me enough against the Colts that would maybe see that they could come out and the Bengals. I mean, they had like one half of good football against the Packers,
Mm.
and but then ever since then they kind of went back downhill, and Andy Dalton reverted back to being Andy Dalton.
Andy Dalton did go back to being Andy Dalton. I'm hoping he'll be more kind of like the Andy Dalton of like the regular season before being Andy Dalton of postseason and this game coming up. Um, right, we have the Rams taking on the Dallas Cowboys. With the Cowboys needing to, well, they're 2-1, and the Rams showing signs of their offense is showing signs of. I mean, obviously we're talking about them playing against the 49ers here. Um, but the offense showing signs of brilliance. But to be honest, if you're letting the 49ers put up 29 points against you, it's not really you can't really face against the Dallas Cowboys offense. I mean, that's probably one of the best in the league. So I've got the Cowboys in this one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on Cowboys as well. The Cowboys had a nice bounce back game against the Cardinals in Monday Night Football, and I think they'll build together a nice streak and roll over the LA Rams.
Yeah, true. Right, Eagles at the LA Chargers, and the Chargers have like they're not in they're not in 3 right now. They really need to like pick up a win sometime soon if they want to make anything in that division, because you know how tough that division is. But I mean, I can't really see them doing. I can't really see that many signs that the Chargers are pushing forward. I mean, they're always within a field goal or within a couple score or within a score. But the Eagles this year, obviously, I picked them as my game to talk about last week. I did quite like. I like the balance the Eagles have. And I like Carson Wentz. So I think I'll pick Carson Wentz in this game and the Philadelphia Eagles.
I'm gonna go the same way. The last week the Chargers lost because they were the worst team. They were not the better team. Weeks before that, it was because they got unlucky. Last week was because they were just crap, and I think they are crap.
Okay, wow. There we go, guys. That's straight from Will.
That's the kind of analysis you get here, guys. They are crap.
All right, so that would put the Chargers to 0-4. We have another game coming up. We have the New York Giants traveling on to Tampa Bay, taking on the Buccaneers. Where if the Giants lose this game as well, they'll move to 0-4, and that is a huge turn for the books because you don't really expect that to be happening. I'll probably give this one because the Giants have been so bad. Until they get a win, I probably won't pick them unless they're playing someone awful. But the Buccaneers are a team that are getting quite hyped. People are getting hyped about them as well. So I mean, and obviously we saw them in Hard Knocks this season. Be interesting to see how. I mean, obviously Deshaun Jackson loves playing against the Giants, so I expect him to have a big game as well. So I'll pick the Buccaneers in this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go for the Bucks to bounce back after quite a disappointing week against the Vikings as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now here we go. The San Francisco 49ers against the Cardinals. The 49ers are just terrible. I don't know about the Cardinals right now. They're also average, but I think they're slightly better than the 49ers. So I'll pick the Cardinals.
Yeah, I'm going to go Cardinals as well. 49ers don't look like they've got anything.
Right, Raiders at Broncos, and this is an interesting game with the Raiders not really obviously losing last week, so a bit unexpected that, and obviously with the Denver Broncos coming up against the big win in week 2, then moving on to lose against the Buffalo Bills in week 3 last week. So I'm not really sure this game's going, to be honest. I'll probably go with Oakland because their team, they will put up points. Just the question if their defense shows up this week, which hopefully it will do in a division rivalry game.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with Oakland as well. I think I kind of trust them more as a team. They've shown me a lot more than the Broncos. The Broncos have kind of shown occasional flashes, and I think the Raiders are built a lot better than the Broncos.
Right, moving on to our Sunday night game, we have Indianapolis Colts traveling to the Seattle Seahawks, who just came off that. Obviously, we just talked about the loss against the Titans, and the Colts. Their season, is it pretty much over right now? I mean, like they're not looking that like too great, and I already see as them as the team who are probably not gonna challenge for the AFC South this year at all. It just could be another season where the Indianapolis Colts go like have an average score. But I'll pick the Seahawks in this one to bounce back. Obviously, they're playing at home. So I think the Seahawks got that advantage going there. I just don't see the Colts going in there and taking points from the Seahawks.
Oh, I'm gonna flip this round and go for the Colts. I
Oh,
think
no way.
that Jacoby Brissett he's getting warmed up.
Against the Legion of
he's just
Boom.
getting warmed up. Like I think, oh yeah, he's gonna walk out there. Like he's got that experience from being third string quarterback to Tom Brady. He's good. Like T.Y. He looks like he's got some good connections with T.Y. Hilton. And I mean, it doesn't really matter that the Colts defense is really bad. I mean, the Seahawks don't have an offense at the moment, so yeah, like why not? Why not? This is the Colts' chance, and if they can kind of keep themselves at 500 until Andrew Luck comes back, yeah, they could make a run at the playoffs. But very very small chance. But
Okay.
I'm feeling lucky.
You're feeling lucky. All right, this is the last game of the week. We have the Washington Redskins traveling to Kansas City, take on the Chiefs. The Chiefs are the other unbeaten team in the league, bar the Falcons, and I see them picking up a win here. I don't see them dropping points at home or against the Redskins. To be fair,
Yeah, same as well. They're going to Kansas City is probably one of the hardest places to go in the AFC after
for sure.
Foxborough at the moment as well because they look so good. So
Well,
yeah,
I think it's harder
good
to
luck
go
getting
there
a
than
win there.
Foxborough, to be honest. Obviously, because they picked up the W against you guys, so someone's won.
I'd say in terms of yeah, but then in terms of atmosphere, I reckon Kansas City is a harder place to play
Oh, for
because
sure, it's a louder
of
stadium.
it's so loud. But then in terms of like the pressure of playing against the Patriots and how comfortable that the Patriots are at Foxborough and all of that like combined into one makes it like mentally a lot harder playing at the Patriots.
Potentially, yeah. Anyway, guys, those are our picks for this week. You can lock them in. Obviously, we did really well last week in our picks. What was it, going 8-8 and 7-9? So, these are pretty much gold. So just go for them, really. Anyway, guys, I think we'll leave it for this week. Sorry we didn't get it out before the Thursday night game, but we'll try and make up for it next week and I guess put it out before then. Anyway, till next week, guys. Catch you later.